Redefining the system, the power of Black women's unapologetic presence. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like you didn't belong? That subtle shift in energy when you enter a space not designed with you in mind? That moment when you realize the very systems you've helped build have no intention of making room for you at the table? I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Paula Anderson for the Pink Parachute Diaries podcast. Paula is a revolutionary force whose insights on Black women's empowerment have transformed countless lives across generations. Her wisdom cuts through conventional thinking like a diamond through glass, revealing truths so powerful they can't help but change everyone they touch. Paula doesn't just talk about empowerment, she embodies it, creating ripples of transformation that have turned into waves of change for Black women in business and leadership nationwide. During our conversation, Paula shared insights on building internal confidence, creating supportive communities, and leveraging technology that left me profoundly moved. Today, I want to share these revelations with you, revelations that might just change how you view power, presence, and possibility. Here's a startling statistic that Paula highlighted. Black entrepreneurs receive just 0.5% of US venture capital funding in 2023. 0.5%, not 5%, half of 1%. Let that sink in for a moment. When I first heard that number, I thought there must be some mistake. But no, that's the reality. And it's just one of many statistics that illustrate the uphill battle Black women face in business and leadership. But here's what's fascinating and what Paula Anderson emphasized throughout our conversation. Despite these staggering odds, Black women entrepreneurs are launching businesses at unprecedented rates. They're not waiting for permission, they're not waiting for the system to make space. They're creating their own tables. As Paula so eloquently put it, the power isn't in competing within systems that weren't built for us. The power is in redefining those systems entirely. I want to share three remarkable stories from our conversation that illustrate this principle in action. First, there's Dawn Kelly, founder of the Nourish Spot in Queens, New York. Dawn didn't plan to become an entrepreneur. She had built a successful corporate career climbing the ladder, playing by the rules. Then, one day, without warning, that career ended. The pink slip arrived. The golden parachute, nowhere to be found. Many would have been devastated. Many would have immediately started sending out resumes trying to find another corporate position. But Dawn saw something different in that moment of rejection. She saw possibility. With her daughter by her side, Dawn launched the Nourish Spot, a juice bar focused on bringing healthy food options to her community. But it quickly became much more than that. It became a hub for community connection, a place that created jobs for local youth, a space for mentorship and growth. When Dawn faced the typical obstacles that plague Black entrepreneurs, limited access to capital, fewer resources, higher loan denial rates, she didn't give up. She got creative. She leveraged support programs like the NYC Economic Development Corporation. She embraced digital tools using Google Business Profile to drive foot traffic and Instagram to tell her story. Today, the Nourish Spot isn't just surviving, it's thriving. And Dawn isn't just building a business, she's building intergenerational wealth and knowledge transfer with her daughter. She's creating a legacy that transforms her community from the inside out. As Paula Anderson noted in our interview, Dawn's story shows us that sometimes rejection is just redirection to something far more aligned with our purpose. Then there's Patrice Williams Lindo, founder of Career Nomad. Patrice's journey began with a painful realization. The very spaces she had helped create weren't designed with people like her in mind. She faced closed doors even after helping open them for others. But instead of trying to squeeze herself into existing frameworks, Patrice created her own system. She developed a powerful personal affirmation that Paula shared with me. I am not here to compete in systems that weren't built for me. I am here to redefine them. My presence is power. My pivot is proof. Those words, my presence is power. My pivot is proof, stopped me in my tracks when I first heard them because they capture something essential about the journey of Black women in professional spaces. Our very presence is revolutionary. Our ability to pivot, to adapt, to transform challenges into opportunities, that's our superpower. Through Career Nomad, Patrice now helps professionals recover from layoffs and toxic work cultures. She helps them recognize that their power doesn't come from conformity, but from disruption and authentic presence. She's built a business that doesn't just help people find jobs, it helps them reclaim their worth in a world that too often tries to diminish it. As Paula emphasized, Patrice shows us that reinvention isn't just a response to circumstances, it's our birthright. And finally, there's Venus Quates, founder of Launch Tech. Venus built a technology company that achieved Inc. 500 status not once, not twice, but three times. She did this as part of the mere 1% of Black owned firms that reach $1 million in revenue. Venus navigated the profound isolation that comes with being a Black woman in the male dominated STEM field. But rather than simply focusing on her own success, she created pathways for future generations. She established the Scholars Program, sending girls to STEM camps and quietly giving back through initiatives like Dell Scholarships. Venus leveraged her military background to build her company, implementing proactive recruiting strategies to hire top talent despite being a small business. During the pandemic, when many businesses were struggling to survive, she pivoted strategically when a random call led to massive growth opportunities. What's remarkable about Venus isn't just what she achieved, it's how she's using that achievement to transform the landscape for those who follow. She's not just breaking barriers, she's dismantling them entirely so others won't face the same obstacles. As Paula noted in our conversation, Venus didn't just break through the ceiling, she built an elevator for others to follow. These three women, Dawn, Patrice, and Venus, embody what Paula Anderson calls unapologetic presence. They didn't wait for permission to take up space. They didn't dilute their vision to fit into existing systems. They built new systems entirely. And that's the first key insight from my conversation with Paula, the power of an internal confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from external validation, but the kind that comes from knowing your worth even when the world fails to recognize it. It's the confidence that allows you to walk into rooms where no one looks like you and know that you belong there. Not because they've made space for you, but because you've claimed that space as your right. The second insight is the importance of community. None of these women succeeded in isolation. They built networks, mentorships, and support systems. They reached back to pull others forward. They understood that true success isn't measured by how high you climb alone, but by how many you bring with you. As Paula emphasized, in moments of doubt, reach out to another strong Black sister. We were never meant to walk this path alone. This isn't just good advice, it's survival wisdom. It's the recognition that our individual struggles are connected to collective liberation. The third insight is the transformative impact of embracing digital tools and technology. Dawn used social media to tell her story. Patrice leveraged online platforms to build her business. Venus navigated the tech industry itself, creating opportunities where none existed before. Technology isn't just a tool for these women, it's a great equalizer, a way to bypass traditional gatekeepers and connect directly with communities and customers. It's a means of creating visibility in a world that too often renders Black women invisible. But here's what struck me most about my conversation with Paula Anderson. These aren't just success stories, they're revolution stories. They're stories about women who refuse to accept the limitations placed upon them by systems designed for their exclusion. And that refusal, that unapologetic presence, changes everything. It changes how these women see themselves. It changes how their communities see what's possible. And ultimately, it changes the very systems that were designed to keep them out. As Paula said, when you walk into a room knowing your worth is non negotiable, you transform not just your experience in that room, but the room itself. So, where do we go from here? What does this mean for you, regardless of your gender, regardless of your race? It means recognizing that systems of exclusion harm us all. When we limit the full participation of any group, we limit our collective potential. When we silence voices, we lose the innovations, insights, and solutions those voices might have offered. It means understanding that the revolution of unapologetic presence isn't just for Black women, it's for anyone who has ever been told they don't belong, they're too much, they're not enough. It means committing yourself to creating spaces where everyone can show up fully without having to shrink themselves or conform to narrow expectations. The stories of Dawn, Patrice, and Venus aren't just inspiring anecdotes, they're blueprints for transformation. They show us what's possible when we refuse to accept the limitations others place upon us. They remind us that sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply showing up as your full, authentic self in spaces that weren't designed for you. So I challenge you today. Where are you shrinking yourself? Where are you accepting limitations that were never yours to begin with? What would it look like for you to claim your space with unapologetic presence? And if you're in a position of power or privilege, I challenge you to ask, who isn't at your table? Whose voices aren't being heard? What systems are you perpetuating that might be excluding brilliance simply because it doesn't look like what you're used to? The revolution of unapologetic presence isn't waiting for permission. It's happening right now in boardrooms and classrooms, in startups and corporations, in communities across this country. It's happening every time someone refuses to shrink themselves to fit into spaces not designed for them. And it's inviting all of us to participate not as spectators, but as co creators of a world where everyone can stand in their power, where everyone's presence is recognized as valuable, where everyone can show up unapologetically as themselves. The question isn't whether you'll be part of this revolution. The question is how. And your answer begins the moment you walk out of this room.